here, and we are live. We are recording. This is the very first episode of the Aziz Medicine Book Club. Thank you all for coming. There's been lots and lots of excitement around this. There's been lots of registrations, and even though there may be only a small handful of you here, there's actually like 40 people or so that will be up to this date, and there might be more who join us who will be viewing the replays and things like that. So there's a lot of energy being put towards this, which is fantastic. So I have, I find it funny, you know, I published this book in 2013, so 3 years ago, and this is the very first time I've been doing a formal book club around it. And it's funny because when it came out, I didn't do much of anything around the book, and it found its own way throughout the world, and I've gotten emails from literally all over the world and of people enjoying this book. And I just kind of got a message recently that now is the time to start talking about it, that for some reason now the energy is right for the discussions around some of the key elements in this book. So if you bought the book right when it came out, like, you're way ahead of its time, and congratulations, but there's no judgment in it if you bought it last week. So I'm just checking here. Cass, are you there?
Uh-huh.
Okay, you're just frozen on my screen, so I wanted to make sure that you could hear me. There's a little chat button, so if you have questions that you don't want to interrupt, but you just kind of want to type in, go ahead. But also, this is interactive, so I think we should be able to manage if you guys want to ask a question, you know, directly. So feel free.
Thank you.
So I decided to, I actually haven't looked at my cards in ages. And I pulled my deck of Archangel Oracle cards, and so tonight I just decided to pull a card and say, tell me something about tonight. And the card I got was brilliant idea. Brilliant idea to be doing this. So that affirming, and
Nice.
Yay. And so as I read through this chapter, I wanted to start out with this chapter. For some reason, I just it called to me, and there's so many juicy tidbits in it for it only being like 5 pages long or something like that. And so tonight's topic is about bullying, and it's about being a victim, and understanding the energy behind that, and getting a grasp on how to no longer create that for you as your reality. And so one of the very, very first things that I talk about in the book is how being bullied, what I did to counteract that or to protect myself. And the 3 things that I state in the chapter are, number 1, disengagement and building thick walls around myself. Number 2, using judgment as a way to have ammunition against others. So making myself right and finding out what was wrong with everybody else, just in case I needed that. And the third one was to become sort of self-absorbed in my own little world. Worry about myself because other people weren't looking out for me, so I was going to look out for myself. And these are really, really key protection strategies that people use all the time. Anyone who's really ever been in an abusive situation would probably utilize some of these. And the very first one I want to talk about is disengagement. So what I would do is people would be bullying me or calling me names or talking about me like I wasn't even there. And I would make it like I wasn't even there. I would literally somehow sort of leave my body and like it was literally like I was not there. So I was not staying present in the moment. So so my body was there, but I wasn't. And I actually have a memory of like one particular bullying incident that was probably one of sort of like the hardest one for me, the one where I really felt, sort of degraded and humiliated the most. And when I always would view that memory like I was watching it from 100 feet away. And if you have ever been a victim of abuse or in a situation such as that, and that's how your memory is, it's like you're watching it from the outside, that means you left your body. You went away because staying there seemed horrific. Now, that's okay. That's okay that you went away because that's the only way to deal with it sometimes when you have no other tools. But here's the thing. Your being went away, your body stayed and took the abuse. And so the abuse is still present in the body. And so when you come back into your body, it will feel strange and odd and maybe abusive to you to even be present in your body because there's abuse present in your body. So unless you can bring yourself back into your body and be present with that pain and fear or panic or whatever it is that's there, without judgment of you, without getting lost in it all, it may be hard for you to really be free of that incident. And so I just want you to know that if you can sort of imagine yourself walking back into your little body as a child where you were being bullied and be there for you, kind of like you're walking back as an adult now going, I've got your back. I'm here for you. And by doing that, you give yourself the courage to choose something different. Now, you're not there to have your back to beat everyone up and, become the bully yourself. It's more of to open up space around that issue and to allow yourself to perhaps see it from a different way, see a different possibility, that kind of thing. And I just wanted you to know that, because a lot of times people, when they've gone through bullying or abuse and they've left their body, they have a hard time becoming in touch with the feelings or even the incident. It's like because they're not actually in their body. And if you're not actually in your body, you cannot be present. You can't deal with anything because you're not there. And the moment you go there and go, hey, I'm here, I belong here, it's okay for me to be here, and I haven't done anything wrong, which is often where our mind goes to, is that the reason it's happening to us is because there's something wrong with us or that we've done something wrong. And when you realize, no, I'm just here. Yeah, I'm taking this abuse, but I haven't done anything wrong here. And yet I'm being blamed or being told I'm not good enough. I'm being told I'm, whatever it is. And when you can just come to terms with, oh, no, I haven't done anything wrong. I'm okay. Yes, those people are treating me badly. That's not my fault. And things can melt away that way. And you may experience a lot of tears. You may actually experience a lot of pain in the body. It's okay. Just breathe that out. Let the tears fly. But all of the time, know that you are there and you have your back. And also that spirit is always there with you too and always has your back. That you are never actually alone. And so if the angels or whatever it is that works for you, you know, it might be Jesus, it might be angels, it might be just consciousness itself, it might be universal forces, you know, it doesn't matter what it is for you. But if you take it with you and it's always there for you, and go not relive, but visit that moment in time again with consciousness or with angelic energy with you, and things will change, and it will change miraculously. Are there any questions at this point? Just keep talking. So another thing that happens is if we then come into our body or stay in our body, is we will, and even if we don't sometimes, what we'll do is we'll build, you know, these thick walls around us, right? All the fortress of defense, you know, the armor, the things that say, screw you, you know, and all of those big defenses. And everyone has their own in their own way for different things. We defend against a lot of things, really. And so what's interesting about a wall is that it doesn't allow you to receive, right? The whole purpose of it is to keep everything out. But the thing is, it keeps everything out. So it keeps out your access to joy and other possibilities and kindness and friendship and all of those things. So your defenses actually turn against you because it shuts you off from all the things that you're seeking in order to keep out all the things that you're afraid of. Now, every victim will have these walls, because it's actually what makes you a victim, is because it shuts you out from all the great things, all the abundance, all the wonderful things in the world. Now, there's a saying, in order to have everything, you have to be willing to lose everything. And by being willing to lose everything, you will gain everything. And what that really means is, when you're willing to lose everything, it means that you take down your guard completely. If you take down your barriers 100%, like completely gone, you will be open to receiving everything. And it will be really intense and vulnerable. It is actually a pure state of vulnerability. And we've been taught in this society that vulnerability is a weakness. And it's the absolute opposite. Vulnerability is the absolute power, because when you are truly vulnerable, you can receive everything. And absolutely nothing can harm you, because you're in full receiving mode. Now, I just want to do like a little exercise with you, if that's all right, like kind of a little meditation. And so I just want you to get a sense of the energy of everywhere or anything that is, I'm just trying to think of the words. Okay, think of anything that you are trying to protect or hold on to. Okay, the energy of anything that you're trying to defend. Okay, and if you're thinking about areas where you've been bullied or victimized, what is it that you are trying to protect or defend in those instances? Okay, and immediately you should get a sense of the wall or the barrier or the defense that is there to protect it. Does everyone get that? Yeah? Okay. So now, and you can do this with your eyes closed, open, doesn't matter, whatever works best for you. But now imagine letting that defense and those walls dissolve. Ooh. And imagining that you are willing to free those things that you are protecting. You are willing to let them spread their wings and fly, to let go of trying to control their fate. And risking, because there is some risk, it's actually not risky at all, but there will be a feeling that it's risky and dangerous, that it's risky to let that go. But notice also, the more you dissolve those walls, that the very things that you are afraid to lose actually become more substantial in your life, actually become lighter, greater, lovelier, happier. Does everyone get a sense of that? Yeah. Wow. Huh? And it's like oh, I'll let it out a little bit. Oh, that's too much. I better stop because I might lose it completely. But yeah, what if you did lose it completely? Would you gain it completely? Because you're no longer putting up barriers to receiving it completely. And what else could you receive if you let that one little thing go? Would you not only gain it and then a whole bunch more joy, abundance, kindness? Now, what we tend to do is we tend to believe that if we let those barriers down, the only thing that we would let in is, beggars and liars and stealers and murderers, all the bad stuff. But what's interesting is that the energy of vulnerability doesn't attract that, because it's a completely different frequency than all the bad stuff. All the bad stuff, as we put it, all the things we are wanting to keep out, actually is attracted to your barrier. So it's actually what brings that to you, so that you can prove how right you are about how bad the world is. And so this goes into a conversation about you creating your own life and your own reality, which I also talk about in this chapter, about the scenario of, looking around the boxing ring where I was taken and trying to find who's trying to box me, who's trying to fight me, and there's no one there but me. So the energy that you be, the energy that you are emitting and is creating your life. So if you have a lot of energy up that says, wow, the world's a rough place, it's a dangerous place, and I've got to protect myself, and I've got to protect all the things I love from this horrible world out there, then that wall has got to draw to you all of the horrible things out there, so that you can prove you are right and justify your barrier. Because if you're wrong, then it's ridiculous for you to be all walled up, isn't it? And Lord knows you do not want to look like a fool. You do not want to be wrong, you know? And so the energy you put out will always match exactly. Always match exactly, and will create for you. So if you're putting out that the world is dangerous, it has to prove it to you that it is, so you can feel right about it. So that exercise of letting those barriers dissolve, being in completely, absolutely safe place, being completely unprotected because there's no need for the protection. There's absolutely no need for it, because you are in a world where there is love, where there is kindness, where there is gratitude, where there is appreciation. Then the energy has to match that and show you you're right. And that is how you create your life. That's how you can create a joyful experience. That's how you can create happiness in your life, is by believing that there's nothing to harm you. Now, I'm sure you've all had times in your life where you kind of put yourself in what might be seen as a dangerous or risky situation, but you never were worried about you. And it's because you weren't being the energy of fear. You weren't being the energy of victim. And so you would not create that. Okay? And so when you have confidence, the universe gives you every reason to be confident in that, because that's the energy that you're being. So let's take a look at that idea in relation to being a victim. Now, I know this is controversial to many, many people to think that a victim has created their own circumstances. Many people get upset at that thought. Those poor victims, how dare you? How dare you say they created that? You know, and yet, yet, if we do understand that we create our own life, if we've been victimized, then we've created that. Somehow we've been involved in that creation. And just hang on, I'm getting a little message here from these guys. And, oh, geez. It's saying my meeting will end in, just hang on. I don't know what's going on. Well, I'm just going to, just hang on. Not upgrade. Oh, did I lose you?
Yeah.
I'm here, just hang on. Where did you go? Oh, there you are. Okay. Well, why won't this go away? There. Oh, dang. You pop up and then I lose you. But, okay. Okay. All right. So here's the game plan. If for some reason our meeting ends, join back in. Come back in, or I'll create a new meeting and we'll restart up. I'm sorry. This is my first time using this platform, and I'm not familiar with everything. So, okay.
And it usually happens to everybody on their first one with Zoom.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And does it end and then you have to come back?
I think you have to. Did you do the upgrade thing?
Well, I was doing that, but I think it might take a while. Yeah.
Well, we know where to go back to the email anyway, so.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. All right. What was I saying?
You were saying, where were you? Oh, you were talking about when somebody...
Oh, victims creating their own circumstances.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. The most empowering thing a victim can do is acknowledge they created their own circumstances. Because the moment they acknowledge they were part of that creation, they no longer are a victim. They are no longer having life just happen to them. I'm a pawn and life's being mean to me. It's an empowering stance to go, wow, if I created this crap, then what else can I create? I realize then that I have a choice to choose something different. I know I have a choice to create something completely separate and different than what I'm already choosing. Now, some of you on this call will know about the light and heavy tool from Access Consciousness. And for those of you who don't, I'm just going to explain it really quickly. A truth will always feel light or expansive. It will create more space for you. That's a real truth. And a lie will always create less space, be contractive and heavy. Now, if you ask a victim, truth, did you somehow choose to go through this? It will always be light. Always. And they'll go, no, I didn't choose this. And it'll feel so heavy because it's a freaking lie. It's a lie. Every victim has somewhere on some level, generally unconscious, has chosen to go through what they're going through. And the reasons could be, wide and varied, and they don't even really matter. All that matters is that you acknowledge, oh my God, I chose this. I was part of this plan. And from there, then you have power to say, wow, okay, whew. And the moment you come into the acknowledgement of I was part of this plan, you'll might, depends on how aware of the situation you want to be, might have some recognition of why or how that came to be, or you might just know that it did. And so, do I still want that? Do I still want it? And if it's a no, boom, choose something else. And it really is, it really can be that simple. Most victims can be really entrenched in their victimhood. They've really defined it as their identity. So sometimes that's not so easy to give up. And when we are in judgment, when we are really, really wanting to blame someone else or blame ourselves, then we won't be so eager to choose something else. Because say you want to blame someone, say you want to show someone how their actions are hurtful and you're very judgmental of their actions and you want them to change. So what you'll do is you'll get them to abuse you. So you can be the example of how hurtful their actions are towards you. You're the proof, okay? You're proving how awful they are. You're proving how bad their behavior is. You're proving, whatever it is you're there to prove. Now, if you are not willing to let go of that judgment, you won't let go of your victimhood because it provides the proof of your judgment. Have I lost you? But if you do if you do want to change, then you have to give up your judgment of anyone's actions as being wrong or bad, because you realize you're choosing those actions just to prove your own point. And when you can give up the trying to prove the point, you can give up the actions, and then boom, it all changes. Because you no longer require them to be the mean and nasty abuser that you're trying to make them out to be, and you no longer have to be the victim. So it can be healing on both ends. But oftentimes, it can be the victim's judgment that's actually holding the whole thing into place. Isn't that neat? Isn't that neat? Does anyone have any questions around that?
It really turns the powerlessness that people feel around.
Yes.
When they choose to even explore what the creation was about.
Yes. Yes. It turns it around. Exactly. And oftentimes the victim's the bully when you look at it that way, because the victim is trying to prove someone's bad. And so they're creating the circumstances to prove that. And this is where judgment becomes a really nasty little thing, because what's seemingly good, or what you're trying to do is good, is actually creating the whole problem in the first place. Your creation. If there's anything that I can get the participants of this call to understand, and it's really kind of what I was trying to get out of the book, is your life is your own creation, every little bit of it, even the parts that you don't want to admit you had anything to do with, and all of the parts where you are trying to prove how good or you are or how bad someone is often what's keeping you as a victim. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh.
Hi, Dina.
Nina.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if someone is kind of bugging